All right, this is the copyright disclaimer. The copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Donald Trump is fuming on his birthday because Israel and Bibi Netanyahu may be jeopardizing his so-called Iran deal that is scheduled to be signed today. So as you know, there's this memorandum of understanding that Iran and the United States are expected to docu-sign today. Well, Israel this morning decided to strike Beirut, Lebanon. In response, Iran is saying, well, we're not going to sign the deal on Donald Trump's timeline. Trump, according to Fox News, called Bibi Netanyahu and said, "What the F are you doing?" essentially cursing him out for launching these strikes on Trump's birthday. Trump wanted this deal signed, and it's not really a deal. I keep saying deal. It's a memorandum of understanding that, according to public reporting from Reuters, doesn't actually give the United States anything more than what we saw with the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal. So Israel is again jeopardizing, according to Trump, this possible deal. We'll see. He says it's supposed to get signed in the next few hours anyway. Iran is saying it's not going to happen on his deadline. Just a mess ahead of the UFC fight tonight. We'll see what happens. Spread the word. Follow along for more.
We all knew this was coming as soon as Donald Trump said, "We have a deal with Iran." Because Israel is now saying that they are completely rejecting the U.S. brokered ceasefire. Netanyahu's cabinet just announced that they are not a party to this deal. They're complaining that the agreement only serves American interests. Well, duh, because Donald Trump got himself into a freaking quagmire that he couldn't get himself out of. The only way is to give what Iran wants so that the Strait of Hormuz will open up and the gas oil prices will come down like it did. Because as soon as the market opened, it dropped 4%. Netanyahu's cabinet also said that they're openly reserving the right to take independent military actions. They're literally telling the United States that they will keep bombing despite the truce. By the way, the Pakistan mediators, they stated that the ceasefire applies everywhere. That includes Lebanon. But of course, Netanyahu flatly refused to accept that. Netanyahu claims that the truce doesn't involve Lebanon, so the IDF can keep striking Hezbollah targets. I think we all knew that as soon as the United States make a deal with Iran, Israel will find a way to blow it up. Well, they have 4 days to do it because apparently the signing of memorandum is on Friday.
It's a bad agreement. Iran will not keep the agreement. And as a matter of fact, I think that the whole thing was a betrayal with the Iranian people and Israeli people, because it's only American interest here, and it's in for the matter of national security of Israel. This is the worst agreement that could ever be done.
I don't think it's going to last because the Iranian vowed to annihilate Israel. So when you sign an agreement with them, it just delay of their goals to destroy Israel and America. And I wish there were peace between Israel, Iran, but it's not gonna last, sorry.
Well, I'm a Northerner and I'm not very happy about it. I think it will last maybe 2 years until Trump is ending his term, and then we'll go back to the same thing.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 20, and it reads, "Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them." Giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Raha Kakodash, Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you I say Shalom. This is your brother Ayashar Barzal from the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone, coming back at you with another lesson that is edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. All right, we just saw those video clips. Israelis, which is, of course, is a made-up name. You know, the Lord changed Jacob's name to is Israel in the English, but Yasharallah in the ancient Hebrew, which means he, Prince Power. Okay, the Israelis, whatever that. Let me go see what that means. I think it's just a citizen, and anybody can be that. Let me grab that definition of Israeli. Yeah, it says of or relating to the people or the Republic of Israel. Okay, well, we know that Israel was a people before it was a place, and it is a bloodline. All right. It also says in definition to a native or inhabitant of the Republic of Israel. Okay, that's talking about the land, not the people. All right, Israel is a people before it was a place. All right, let me grab that in Genesis, I believe it's 35, starting at verse 9. All right, and it reads, And Yahweh Bashem Yahushai appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Pandanaram and blessed him. And Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel. That's Yasharallah, okay, in the Paleo Hebrew, as I just said. But Israel shall be thy name, and he called his name Israel, Yasharallah. Verse 11, And he said unto him, I am Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply, and a nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. Okay? Bloodline. All right? From the forefather Jacob. Bloodline. All right? Verse 12. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee I will give the land. All right? And we know that land was, how that land was parted up. When you go to the book of Joshua, chapters 13 through 22. Yeah, that's how the land was all divided up. Okay, and of course we're in all over the world, so we're in lands outside of that. That's primarily the headquarters where the heathen is residing right now. Okay, you got the Israelis there, the Palestinians there, and then at the northern tip of the land is Lebanon. All right, so the headquarters is being occupied by the heathens right now, according to Ezekiel 36 and 5. I may have to touch on that later too. All right, but yeah. Anyway, these I started out with Jeremiah 49 and 20, and the heathens or the Israelis are upset about the Iran deal so much that, Netanyahu is saying fuck Trump. He went and fired on Lebanon, all right, which means that, the nation of Edom, because they are Amalek, point blank period, they are Amalek, which is a part of the nation of Edom, okay? And Amalek is the direct grandson of Esau, Edom, all right? Let's get that. I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 36, beginning at verse 8. Okay. Verse 8, and it reads, Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. So those two names are interchangeable. When we're talking about Esau, we can be talking about the individual or the nation as a whole. It just said it right here. Esau is Edom. Okay. Verse 9, and these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites. Okay. In Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau. Ruel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was a concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son. And she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. Okay, so that's the bloodline. Amalek is a part of Edom. So when you go back to Jeremiah 49 and 20, all right, he's taken against Edom. That's the whole nation, including Amalek. All right, and we know that Amalek is the chief nation of Edom. You can see that right now, today. Okay. The whole United States government is compromised by them. All right. Let's see. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 24 and verse 20. And it reads, and when he looked up upon, and when he looked on Amalek, he took up this parable and said, Amalek, who was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he shall perish forever. So yeah, right now he's the head of not only Edom, but the nation that's running the world right now. All right? There's no way around that. Everybody can see it. I don't give a fuck how mad they get. There's no way around that. Okay? You're going over to New York, just taking people's land. Okay? Taking their deeds. You know? You own, damn near all of Congress. Okay? Through your company or that organization, APAC. Come on now. Media. All forms of media controlled by you. You had to buy TikTok, but you'd already lost the narrative. So yes, you are the chief nation. And the Lord said that he would be at war with you from generation to generation, which he has been. Okay, especially when it comes to his people. All right. You were the first to attack us as we were leaving Egypt. All right. And right when that war was over, that's when he said he would be at war with Amalek from generation to generation. This is the book of Exodus 17. Starting in verse 14. It says, and the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. So all those people of Amalek, that includes you Ukrainians, you're the same Khazarians. You all like to be everybody else but who you actually are. The Khazarians come from Amalek as well too. All right. Back in 14. And Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nisi. For he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Okay? And Amalek is leading the rest of his nation, especially against the children of Israel. You remember, like I said, he attacked us as we were exiting Egypt. And then when it came time to go buy the land, the rest of the nation of Edom, prohibited us. They came out to fight us. All right. So yeah, our number one enemy has always been Esau, Edom, and we know that according to the prophecy in Genesis chapter 27, verse 38 through 41. He's been wanting to kill us ever since then. All right. All right. And how we know they're working together on this one. They are the same people again. You go to Psalms 83. I'm going to go shoot straight to verses 6 and 7. You start at the top. These are the nations who want to put us out of remembrance, okay? Make sure we never remembered who we were. Psalms 83, beginning in verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom, all right? And the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, okay? Ashur also is joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot, Selah, okay? So Amalek and the rest of Edom are part of this confederacy, to come against Jake. But, not to get too far away from that, I'm going to go ahead and get into this article because this ties back in to Jeremiah 49 and 20. The least of the flock is going to draw them out. And that's what's going to happen. All right. Now we know Trump and Netanyahu are not getting along right now. That's that division in Edom. Well, I said I was going to get to the article. Let me get that division where it talks about nation cannot stand against a nation. This is the book of Mark. Chapter 3. Verse 23. All right. Verse 23, and it reads, and it called unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And we know Satan is, that adversary. All right. It says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And right now we're seeing they're at odds, in the video clips that preceded the lesson. It says, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. All right. And we know that the house also means a nation, according to Numbers 1 and 18. Your pedigree is determined by the house of your father. Okay. Verse 26. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. And we know Esau's end is coming. Isaiah chapter 14, verses 21 and 22. His whole line is going to be destroyed. He will never be in rulership again in any place. No cities will be named after him. He's going to be destroyed. So he has an end. And this prophecy of them being divided, is leading up to that. We know that. And we can see that the other European nations are not messing with them. So, all right, let's get to the article. It says, Israelis denounce Trump's deal with Iran. This is as of June 15th. That's today, 2026, from End Time Headlines. I'll put a link to this article in the description box. It says, Israelis across the political spectrum reacted with sharp criticism Monday to a newly announced peace agreement between the United States and Iran, viewing it as a dangerous concession that leaves Tehran's regional influence largely intact. Okay, and this is something about Esau Edom. This bastard cannot be on the level playing field to save his life. When you have just an equal chance of beating them, equipped the same way, numbered the same way, they typically lose. Okay? It says, according to a report from the Washington Post, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu did not issue an immediate statement on the deal. However, many of his supporters and critics alike expressed deep skepticism, warning that the agreement fails to neutralize the long-term threat posed by Iran. Well, hell, how many deals have they tried with you all, and you shot at them? You know, you shouldn't have did that shit if you're gonna be scared now, punk asses, for real. That's y'all punks, man. You know, they tried to sit down and you all bombed them twice. All right, and still violating stuff. It says the mood in Israel was one of alarm as citizens awoke to news of the pact, which aims to end recent fighting and includes provisions such as reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Descriptions of the deal range from a catastrophe to a bad deal that throws a lifeline to the murderous regime in Iran. And they have a lot of nerve calling them murderous. And we've been seeing what they've been doing since October of 2023, and even before that, even against America with the USS Liberty, It says, in the press and on social media, voices from voices from across Israeli society voiced concerns that the agreement would allow Iran to regroup while leaving its proxy networks, particularly Hezbollah in Lebanon, operational. Okay, and see that's another thing. Lebanon, the northern tip portion of actually Israel, they're mad about that too. This is how you know that they're not the people. You're supposed to have all the way from the river of Egypt, which is the Nile, over to the Euphrates. Okay, which the river that separates Iran and Iraq. You don't have all of that now. That's why you're going over to Venezuela, New York City, taking people's stuff. You've been kicked out of 109 countries. There's only 194 nations on this earth. You are a group of terrible people. Even the Lord said that. Said about the whole nation. That's why he's got to get rid of you. All right? At the appropriate time, which he will, according to the scripture. Obadiah 1 and 18. All right? It says, in the press and on social media, voices from across Israeli society voiced concerns that the agreement will allow Iran to regroup while leaving its proxy networks, particularly Hezbollah and Lebanon, operational. Israeli officials and commentators stressed that the country's military campaign against Hezbollah would continue despite the U.S.-Iran understanding. Yeah, they're going to do a little bit more than that. Okay. It says, the deal comes amid heightened tensions following recent Israeli strikes, including one in Beirut's southern suburb on Sunday. President Donald Trump had quickly pushed for a calm and progress toward the agreement, but the Israeli response highlights ongoing divisions over how to address Iran's role in the region. See, they're divided, same against same. A divided house. They cannot stand. All right. And yeah, that's the gist of our article. So hey, with that being said, that Jeremiah 49 and 20 stands, which means World War III is imminent. You just saw the article where China took the lead over the brain chip. You know, this stuff is here. You know, they're not going to let this crisis go to waste, and we are definitely headed towards World War III. So, all right. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. Once again, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahak HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching me this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, I say Shalom, Kwam Yasharallah, Abba Babal. We got next. Shalom.